AFR On Demand is brought to you by Breck Golf. Try Beaver Creek today, just 20 minutes from downtown Baton Rouge in the Zachary area. They've got a PGA Tour driving range, a short game practice area, 30 to 40-yard practice shots. It's a great place to chip and putt and practice if you don't have time for a full round. Book your tee time today, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
Live from the Raising Cane studio.
Let's ride!
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. It's AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. 5 o'clock, quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Oh, we missed Shea Dixon in hour number 1. Shea did text. He's going to jump aboard with us here in about 15 minutes from right now. So good to know. Shea is good. Did we set up the Twitter poll, Muse, earlier?
I did set up the Twitter poll earlier, yes. So our Twitter poll earlier was, why didn't Shea Dixon answer his phone this Tuesday?
Yeah.
He's sleeping. He forgot. He's sabotaging the show. He wanted to hear Law and Order LSU. With 46.2% of the vote, sabotaging the show, currently leading.
All right.
Not a lot of faith in Shea from the listeners,
really,
man. Golly.
Unfortunate. We'll ask Shea himself here in about a dozen minutes from right now on the next episode of Law and Order LSU. Adam Schefter, just a few days before the draft, has a piece up at ESPN.com where he talked about a lot of the draft storylines, among them trade candidates to watch here with the draft nigh. And he notes those who could gain interest include Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson Sr., Titans quarterback Will Levis, Saints quarterback Spencer Rattler, Kyle Pitts, Kenny Moore, Kayvon Thibodeau, and others that aren't really as important. But interesting there that he notes Spencer Rattler, for what it's worth. Here was Schefter. No, forgive me. This was Mickey Loomis back at the end of the season press conference whenever he was asked point blank about the possibility of Spencer Rattler being traded.
Chris was saying that with Spencer Rattler, because he deserves another opportunity to start. Would you be open to moving in? Did he express an interest in being traded out of?
No, I mean, we're not anywhere in that. We haven't had any kind of discussions about that.
Okay, so that was in January when Mickey Loomis was asked if they would be open to trading Spencer Rattler, and not having any discussions about that. Okay, that was January, so it's been 4 months, and so things can change. One very obvious thing that has changed is since then, the Saints have added Zach Wilson. So it does change the dynamic of this conversation, undeniably. Now, I don't have a hard and fast feeling on this today because I think there are a few questions that need to be answered first. So if you are, let me put it to you this way. If the New Orleans Saints are, in fact, interested in trading Spencer Rattler, I think you have to answer 3 questions with varying degrees of certainty and increasing degrees of uncertainty as you go through them. The first question would be, number 1, are you sold on Tyler Shuck as your starter? I think, by and large, we could all agree the Saints are sold on Tyler Shuck as their starter, right? Now, that could change. Tyler Shuck has started 9 NFL games. I'm not suggesting here that definitively he's the franchise, he's the future, he's the now with the potential to be, but undeniably right now, he is your starter. That's not even a debate. So the answer number 1 is yes, they're sold on Tyler Shuck as their starter. They're going to try to build around him. Number two is, are you convinced that Rattler is not the guy? So as to say, if you still think there's a chance Spencer Rattler could be your franchise quarterback, then you're not trading him. But if you're convinced all Spencer Rattler is going to be is a good backup in the NFL, then I'm open to this trade. If you're sold on Shuck as your guy, you're convinced Rattler is not the guy. And then the third question, do you think Zach Wilson is a better number 2 option than Spencer Rattler? And if the answer is yes to all three of those questions, then I'm totally fine trading Spencer Rattler because you got your guy in Shuck. You don't believe Rattler could be that guy, and you think the guy that you just signed in Zach Wilson is a better number 2 option than the guy you have, then trade the guy you have and get an asset for him. Okay, I'm good with that. And I could play some hypotheticals out for you. And please, I don't need to go litigate Zach Wilson's entire career. We've seen it. He was the number 2 overall pick. It didn't go good. He's bounced around since, gets traded to Denver, never plays. We all know the skinny was Zach Wilson, okay? He's a guy right now in his middle 20s who's been in the league for half a decade, and it just hasn't gone well. He was a franchise quarterback. Now he's a vagabond. Maybe he becomes Sam Darnold. Maybe he becomes Baker Mayfield. More likely, he's just a guy that's going to hold a clipboard for however long someone's going to pay him to hold a clipboard, and then he'll go do TV or whatever else in life. But let's say, hypothetically, Tyler Shuck gets injured. Knock on Formica. Or let's say Tyler Shuck, who was really showed flashes in the second half of last year, the Saints go 1-7 out the gate. And you're like, what happened to the guy that we thought was going to be good? He's not actually good. Again, I don't think that's going to happen, but I'm playing a hypothetical. So let's say Shuck stinks. Who would you rather? Zach Wilson or Spencer Rattler? I think there's more unknown with Rattler. I mean, his win-loss record, he didn't win a game as the starting quarterback. So, that is complicated. And because I think if you gave him a healthy roster at the end of 24 when he was starting instead of a practice squad team, then maybe you would have seen different results. But the flip side of that is, well, that's what Tyler Shuck played with the second half of last year and had much better results against the more manageable portion of the schedule. So there's that. But all that to say, I think most people have made up their mind about Zach Wilson, that he'll never be. There's a large enough sample size to know Zach Wilson's never going to be anybody's franchise quarterback. But I would look at recent examples because we would have said the same thing 24 months ago of Sam Darnold. And he went to Minnesota and won 14 games, then went to Seattle and won a Super Bowl. Again, I'm not saying that's going to happen with Zach Wilson. I'm just saying I think this era of quarterbacking in the NFL has taught us probably too early to throw dirt on guys after 3, 4, 5 seasons, especially super talented guys that got thrust into a bad situation early. And the common denominator with both Zach Wilson and Sam Darnold is they were top 5 draft picks of the Jets who bottomed out. But if the answer of that hypothetical, like let's say Shuck stinks and you got it and you go to your backup, what's a better option, Rattler or Zach Wilson? If the answer is not clearly Rattler, then you trade him if you can get something for him. Because the bottom line is what you are trying to do right now as an organization is build around Tyler Shuck, who you believe, go back to the first question, you're sold that that's your guy, your franchise quarterback. So you're trying to build around him. Well, if getting an asset for Spencer Rattler helps you build around Tyler Shuck, and you can have a young veteran backup in Zach Wilson, who has a lot of playing experience, but it hasn't gone well, but it's probably a better backup option today than Rattler, then I'll take the asset for Rattler that's going to help me build toward the future under Tyler Shuck. What does that look like? I don't know. I mean, Rattler was a 5th-round pick. You're talking about at best a day 3 draft pick, a late day 3 draft pick, a 5, 6, 7, whatever that may be. But do you want that asset to help build around your young franchise quarterback, or do you want a guy just sitting on the sideline, potentially battling Zach Wilson in camp for the backup job? Maybe you sign him to the practice squad and you run the risk of having another team sign him to their active roster. I guess my feeling is if you can get something for him, get something for him. We'll see how it plays out this week. Want to keep an eye on, according to Adam Schefter. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad you're hanging out with us here. We're brought to you by Relief Windows. ReliefWindows.com, windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades. Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. I was talking to Brandon Holly earlier today. Man, I always love talking to Brandon. Love talking about their amazing company. You know, when Eric and I first bought our home, the first home that we had, when we came home with Drew, one of the first things we did was we had them install one of their soundproofing windows in the front of the house because Drew's room faced the street. We wanted to make the room quieter, so we did that. When we moved in the house we're in now, one of the first things we did, we had this beautiful sort of open floor plan with these beautiful windows, this wall of windows that looks out into our back area with the pool and the pond behind the house. And Brandon came in and said, man, we should put picture windows in here to get rid of the pain so you can just have this beautiful view straight out into that outdoor space. It's an awesome suggestion. Of course, we installed the energy-efficient windows, which lowered our energy bills, increased our home's resale value. The point is, if it's windows, doors, siding, shutters, shades, any of it, it's going to increase your home's resale value, make your home more energy efficient, beautify your home, invest in your biggest investment. Relief Windows can help you do it. Windows, doors, siding, shutters, and shades, Relief Windows and ReliefWindows.com. All right, y'all, it's After Further Review. Thanks for hanging out with us here on this Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We miss Shea Dixon in hour number 1, but he's good enough to jump aboard with us next. So let me knock out a quick break, come back, talk some Cruton with Shea next on AFR.
After Further Review.
I got a call yesterday from my buddy Darren James, and he sent me a testimonial from an AFR listener. And it was hilarious because he actually used the listener used a little bit of language that was awesome, but hilarious too. Effectively, guy's name is Jacques, not Jacques Doucet, Jacques J. And Jacques, who's been listening to AFR for 11 years, was going to sell his home, called a different realtor, had his home listed with another realtor for a year, no movement. Finally decides to call Darren James. It was a Friday night. Guess what? Darren called him back within 20 minutes. Guy said, hey, no problem. You don't need to talk to me on a Friday night. Call me on Monday. Within an hour, Darren had a full-on marketing plan laid out. Well, guess what? The first person that looked at the home bought it. They're under contract. You need results, you need Darren James. Agent225.com.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
After Further Review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
She likes the way it's pulling while we're tilling up the land. She's even kind of crazy about my farmer's tan. She's the only one who really understands what gets me. She thinks my track.
We've solved the riddle. Actually, no, we haven't. Let's get the answer right now. Shea Dixon from On 3 The Bengal Tiger is with us. Shea, we have a question. So we left it to our audience, and we were asking where you were. Muse, what were our suggestions? What were our choices again?
Was he sleeping?
Yeah.
Did he forget?
Yeah.
Was he trying to sabotage the show?
Ooh.
Or did he want to just hear Law and Order LSU again?
Yeah. All right, Shea. Muse, what did the audience say in the poll?
Sabotage the show led the poll. Yeah. Not a lot of faith in
All
Shea.
right, Shea.
It's tough.
What was the answer?
C would be, I guess, the closest. I decided, you know what, I'd rather drive time than the 3 o'clock hour. So in my every Tuesday, your producer, Moose, sends me a text just confirming, and I say yes, and typically he responds, and that'll be the end of it, or he'll thumbs up it. And I just, in my head after today, I thought in my head he had said, are you good with 5:15? Because his response was awesome, as if like I had done y'all a huge solid. So I hearted it and was like, obviously, no problem. Like, no big deal. Like, whatever. So
There it is.
the yard looks good right now. Everything's been trimmed up. And when I came back into the phone, I was like, oh, wait, huh? And then I looked and Moose never said anything about 5:15.
Yeah, yeah. Well, good. I'm glad the yard work got done. I'm sure Emily will be thrilled with that. And it still works out that we get to talk to you. So all's well that ends well. And same would be true for Lane Kiffin and this class as they got the commitment from Braylon Calais. Okay, let's go through it. How did they get this thing done with the 4-star from Cecilia?
Yeah, this is another one that it's been kind of a theme with guys they've certainly been recruiting. And we saw it with Peyton Houston, where they had, and not to the same extent, but with their D-line commit, Jaden Bryant out of South Carolina, he had a connection to Sterling Lucas, who was hired to be the D-line coach. A lot of the staff on offense had been recruiting Braylon to Ole Miss. And whenever they arrived here, he said they made him a massive priority. And we saw George McDonald go out to Cecilia in January during the eval period when coaches could get on the road. And then we saw Kiffin make probably 10, 15 stops at high schools where there were notable guys, largely for this class and some for next year. But Calais was one for this class. So you toss all that together, and then again, he goes to Cecilia. I mean, it's kind of tough to pull kids out of that Acadiana area, and he's one where I think even the work done by the old staff, all of it was enough for him to realize, hey, LSU is a spot I want to be, and picks LSU over Ole Miss and a handful of others that were involved here. But I think at the end of the day, look, he's committing before even doing official visits, much like a Peyton Houston when you're the second Louisiana guy into the class now. And Braylon, it's just one of those things where a large part of your recruitment is staying home to play at LSU.
All right, Shea, so that's a big get, fourth commit now for 2027. But it was a giant weekend with like a dozen official visitors. Let's go through it. How did the weekend go on campus with the OVs?
Great, I guess you'd say. I mean, they at one point had a 10 plan, then 15, and then it trimmed down to 12. And at the same time, you had Peyton Houston back, who was not an official but unofficial visit. And you had Josh Dobson drop in, who is a 5-star corner. Corey Raymond's #1 target this cycle from over in the Carolinas. He just swung through for an unofficial visit. So you put that together with having 12 guys on campus. And yes, the biggest storyline is you got to commit out of it. Amari Stevens. I think the second biggest storyline, or the kind of 1A to 1B, would be nearly half, 5 of the 12 were O-linemen. And I think that's one area that Brian Kelly is going to be serious. God, like that slipped right out. Lane Kiffin will be serious about recruiting moving forward, because yes, you can go to the portal every year, but we're seeing it right now with the D-line. I mean, Deuce Gerald's is making an instant impact in these practices, putting himself in a position to maybe start, but certainly contribute. Richard Anderson is in that group. Lamar Brown hasn't even showed up to campus yet. We saw Trenton Henderson make some plays at that edge spot in the spring scrimmage this past Saturday. So just knowing that, hey, look, we can't rely every year on getting Jordan Seaton or a guy like Ball and hoping he works out really well and that he stays healthy and maybe even elevates his play from where he was at Maryland. It's the guys that you can develop, much like Devin Harper, who's been in the mix, right, at guard. That was a guy they signed at Ole Miss. So I really think they want to shoot for the stars here, Matt. And Calais doesn't get any bigger than bringing in an O-line group where most of the group was ranked in the top 1 or 2 at offensive tackle or interior offensive line.
Did they make any movement, Shea, as best you could tell, with any of the guys that were here?
Yeah, I think they made a big splash. Look, the one in-state guy was Simeon, and he's got some visits ahead. And he said, look, my time with the staff, he called it enlightening. And we've talked about this before, you and I, of there's so much more that goes into these visits than checking out the campus and the facilities and NIL or any of that. It's for a guy like Albert Simeon, these O linemen. There's new O line coaches. Really, there's two of them if you're counting Walford and James Craig. A whole new offensive scheme, a new head coach, someone who does things very differently than Brian Kelly did. And Simeon had sort of been entrenched into that Brian Kelly, hey, this is where my recruitment started feeling. And he said these visits for him to LSU are all about getting to know the new staff, what they want out of an offensive, an interior offensive lineman, what they see in him. But look, they brought in the big guns. They had Will Campbell down there. He was hanging out with Simeon and a lot of the offensive linemen. And he said that was cool to kind of get his view of going through the recruitment as a Louisiana guy and to LSU. And then for that whole group, they just talked about picking Campbell's brain about being at LSU and moving on to the NFL. And look, I'll give you, they had border state guys from Kennedy Brown, who's a 5-star in Texas, Caden Moss, who is a 4-star in Mississippi, number 3 interior offensive lineman, Simeon being the number 2 one. So 2 of the 3 of top interior offensive linemen in the country, guards and centers, were on campus this weekend together. Kennedy Jackson over in Georgia. All these guys spoke so highly of the visit, but go all the way up to the Pennsylvania guy who visited this weekend, and 4-star offensive lineman Terrence Smith. He's a kid who made his way down out of Lansdale Catholic in Lansdale, Pennsylvania. He's a top 20 interior offensive lineman. He's got offers from coast to coast. And he said, look, between the relationship I have with Eric Wolford, but then kind of meeting him in person and having a longer weekend time to spend with him than just a quick visit, jumped out at me. He said Lane Kiffin is one of those things that stood out about the trip just because of how active he was with the team and around the team on the weekend and with the recruits. And when he said, kind of talking to Chad Simmons at Rivals about, hey, look, you've got all these teams of interest and you've got a handful of officials. And this was the first weekend the NCAA allowed official visits. And so for these guys, it was the very first one. And he said, look, LSU set the bar very high. He said it was one of those where I might be from far away. I know I've got Penn State, those Michigan, Ohio State teams like that closer to home recruiting me. But all of the while, he said LSU really got that group together and made them feel like a priority on the O-line. And for those guys, it was big on development. And I mentioned Will Campbell, but Eric Wolford and James Craig are 2 O-line coaches. Both of them have coached in the SEC for a while. Both of them have coached in the NFL. So when they're able to kind of pitch to recruits, hey, look, we've had the experience of coaching guys at both of these levels that you're trying to get to and go through. That's a pretty nice 1-2 punch for an O-line coach and a quote-unquote assistant O-line coach who just happened to be your O-line coach last time you won a national championship here.
He's on Twitter at Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Shea, the other 2 interior offensive linemen, Kennedy Brown from Texas, Caden Moss from Mississippi, both in the Rivals industry ranking, the projections are trending toward other places, Brown to A&M, Moss to Ole Miss. Does it feel like LSU's got a shot to nab either one of those border state guys?
I think that both could be in play here. Look, Caden Moss is a kid who obviously the Ole Miss staff on offense had recruited him on the offensive line, so they picked that one up. And LSU has a number of guys in the personnel department who have Mississippi connections, so they've been on Caden Moss for a long time. And that's one where you're trying to pry him out of the state. Bama, other teams are going to be involved that are border state and trying to get into Mississippi. But I think one thing that he said, something that we've talked about a good bit, obviously, but these recruits are starting to see it and notice it, is he said, hey, look, I've been on a lot of visits already. This was one where it was really run like a pro organization, like from practice to watching film to getting treatment. I mean, he said it was all so nuanced and structured to the point where everything kind of felt like it would if you were a part of a professional football team. He was like, this is how they lined it up for that exact reason. And again, as a border state kid, he's going to look at LSU and put it in his mind as, hey, look, this isn't going far from home for me. So that's one I'd keep an eye on. And Kennedy Jackson, the same. I mean, he was one that really raved about Eric Wolford and said, hey, he's a guy just watching him coach that room. He said that he could tell he could develop him, and even said, hey, look, this was an exact quote. He showed me in these different ways. I've been through Bama, Kentucky here. He can develop me in ways that other programs around the SEC can't. And it's kind of just a pitch to him. And love it or hate it, a guy like Kennedy Jackson thought that was a strong pitch. And he's a kid coming out of Georgia that's getting recruited by kind of the who's who in the SEC. So when it came to his sit down with Lane Kiffin, Matt, he said, we talked about my recruitment, where it's going, and kind of asked what the feedback or kind of how it felt with Kiffin. And his quote was, well, he's very straightforward and he knows what he wants. And I think we can go back to when I asked him about flying around the country to see Levitt and Jordan Seaton after they left campus, and had said no. And he says he doesn't take no very well. So I think that's kind of carrying over into high school recruiting at the moment when it comes to one-on-one meetings with Kiffin. It's you're ready to be in, and if it's a no, it's what do we have to do to get you there?
I confused my Kennedys. Kennedy Jackson from Georgia, Kennedy Brown from the Houston area. So a couple of Kennedys on the offensive line to keep an eye on. Was
that me or that you? Yes, you're right. Kennedy Brown is the 5-star out of Texas. Correct?
I don't know who I asked about, but they're both relevant at this point, obviously. And last one I wanted to ask is about Dobson, the 5-star corner, who has earlier today announced his top 5. It's LSU, Michigan, South Carolina, Auburn, and Texas A&M. LSU feels like the front runner here, Shea. Who's the biggest competition?
Right now, look, I'll defer to Wilt Fong here from a national perspective. He says it's A&M. I'm not. South Carolina, Texas A&M, Michigan, and Auburn are the other teams in the final group here, so that are not LSU. I've had my pick on LSU. I think it's going to be LSU. He's already got official visits lined up. LSU's is coming at the end of May. It's a little more than a month away, but he's made so many unofficials. I mean, the day prior he was in Michigan, was going to stay a couple of days and just left and shows up at LSU, right? And is like hanging out with DJ Pickett before the scrimmage and taking the scrimmage in and all of the things that a normal recruit would do when you're a priority. You kind of get tied to the hip of the position coach. And this reminds me a lot of DJ Pickett. It's, hey, look, Corey Raymond has attached himself to one guy. It's a 5-star. There's a clear reason why he loves him. He's an elite player. And the other guy was John Meredith. There were kind of two of them early on. And I don't even think they're recruiting John Meredith anymore. They've just honed in on Dobson to the point where I'd be very surprised if another team landed him. But look, we're in the NIL era. I don't know him as personally as I do some of these Louisiana kids, but based off everything that he said that I've kind of felt and then asked around about, I think that it's clear LSU is the team to beat for Josh Dobson.
Shea Dixon on 3, the Bengal Tiger. Get him at Shea Dixon. Glad the yard looks nice. Glad you were able to stop by. We appreciate it.
Well, I guess sabotaging the show is an aggressive one for y'all to even put as an answer, but I guess that was the answer.
Well, Twitter's cynical. What can we say? Thanks, Shea.
Later, Matt.
See ya. It's after further review. We'll knock out a quick break. See if the LSU UNO lineup's posted. Jake Brown's not going to be in it, so who's going to be starting and right? Got a couple options. We'll find out soon enough. Stay here. It's AFR.
After further review.
Man, there are few things better on a beautiful late spring or summer day than walking out in your backyard and just swan diving into your own custom pool. Duplessis Pools makes that happen for people every day. You could be next. DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net, DuplessisBuilders.net. That's the website. Yes, we talk about Duplessis Pools, but they also do outdoor kitchens. They can even do like a putting green for you to beautify your outdoor space. Make your outdoor space a showplace. We spend so much time outdoors, certainly when you have that gorgeous space here in South Louisiana. Why wouldn't you want to invest in your outdoor space? Duplessis Pools can make that happen for you. Maybe you already have a pool, but it's time to be updated, renovated, remodeled. Duplessis Pools can help you with that as well. Check them out online. Start there. DuplessisBuilders.net. DuplessisBuilders.net.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
Well, she ain't into cars or pickup trucks, but if it runs like a deer, man, her eyes like...
Help find a life-saving bone marrow donor match for Kate, an 11-year-old St. Jude patient who urgently needs a transplant. Kate has a serious TP53 mutation, and doctors say finding a bone marrow donor match as soon as possible gives her the best chance at survival. Donor drives will be held on LSU's campus Thursday, April 23rd from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and Friday, April 24th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on the parade grounds and in the quad. If you're between the ages of 18 and 35, you can join the National Donor Registry with a quick cheek swab. And on Thursday, all of our stations will broadcast their full lineup of shows live from the parade grounds in support of Team Kate. If you can't make it to campus, click the Team Kate link. You can register online at 1045ESPN.com, and a free cheek swab kit will be mailed directly to you. Learn more at 1045ESPN.com.
Got all the info at the website on all our socials as well. Really excited about Thursday. So we'll be out there for our shows at the parade grounds in LSU's campus, and we encourage you to come by. Ages 18 to 35 are those that are encouraged to get swabbed. So even if you're outside of that age group, maybe you can help us with just spreading word, sharing a social media post, just making people aware. So it would be an amazing... Look, Thursday is going to be an awesome day anyway. It's the first day of the draft. I'm a draft nerd, excited to do all the draft shows and everything. Friday will be at Zurich, as we are every Friday on the Friday of the Zurich Classic. So, I mean, excited about the end of this week. It's going to be a real fun day. But, man, what an incredible day. Praying so hard that Thursday is the day that we find Kate's match. So help us save this 11-year-old girl's life. It'd be awesome. Are waiting on the lineup to be posted for LSU and UNO tonight out at Alec Box Stadium. We'll get to that in just a quick second. Lane Kiffin met with reporters today. You can tell like he's getting a little comfortable. I think he even smiled today, which was odd. We saw, he's usually very low talker, far from the mic, mumbles a little bit, but he smiled today, which is something. And he talked about kind of getting in shape and getting his staff in shape as well. How they all a lot of them go do hot yoga together in the morning. He talked about that a little bit.
Coach Saban had like the coaching rehabilitation program. Like we'd go in there and we'd get a stamp so we'd get a job again. Over these years with my change and nutrition and exercise and everything, I feel like we've had a lot of people jump into that and we motivate them. I actually had a number of wives over the years thank me because they're like, hey, you're improving my husband, how he's in shape and how he thinks and probably how long he lives. So our new project is T. Martin. So we're on about week 3. And so he's doing good and buying in. So we had a series of stuff last night, like 8 o'clock, and then this morning at 6 a.m. again. So it's kind of fun, especially as coaches come together and don't know all each other. And we have some good before and after pictures, we've put up before. Some good stories in there. It's actually pretty cool. I do think on that, though, we're around our players, and, obviously that doesn't have to be done, in order to win. But I think when your players see that your mindset is that way about everything, the competitiveness, and then they're up here at night doing similar things, or they're out on the jugs, and it just kind of creates a whole culture of coaches and players all in an elite mindset about being great in all areas of their life.
Dude straight called out T. Martin. I mean, put T. Martin on blast.
Called him the next project? Is that what he said?
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. Like, we got, Paul, I need you to do a side-by-side of T when he played and T now. He's big.
Yeah.
Big dude. He's gained some LBs. And a weird thing, so last week, I think I might have said this on air. I don't remember if I said this on air. But so I was videoing some of the receiver routes, one of the practices last week or 2 weeks ago, whenever it was. And a lot of times, like if the quarterbacks are doing other drills. Well, somebody's got to throw. So a lot of times the GA or whatever is throwing the routes. And so I'm like, man. And I'm 70 yards away, right? Like I'm in the end zone. They're running these routes like at the 30 on the other end of the field. It's like, man, GA can sling it. Like, that's, look at the zip, the accuracy, good release, all that stuff. Kind of zoom in on the camera. It's T. Martin.
That makes sense.
This guy was an NFL quarterback.
So he still got the arm. He still got the motions. Like that part hadn't left.
Now, I don't know if you told him, hey, rear back and chuck it. Like, is he getting it 60 yards downfield? Probably not. Maybe. I don't know. Who am I to challenge him? But, I don't know that part. But I'm telling you, dude still got the release. Zipping 10-yard, quick slants and crossers and looking good. I'm like, zip. What a luxury. What a luxury. An NFL quarterback on staff to throw. I mean, you only got 3 quarterbacks right now, and one of them can't throw. So you got 2. Right. Well, I'm sorry. You got 4. One of them can't throw. So you got 3, right? So you got Clark, Longstreet, and Emil Picarella. That's it. Somebody's got to throw all these passes. You ever heard of a camp arm? You got to have a camp arm.
Yeah.
Your camp arm is T. Martin. Bring it on. It's like they used to have, like Dan Canterbury, LSU, former LSU assistant, a lefty. He would throw BP, the lefty BP. You got to have someone in there as a lefty. Give him a look. Give him a look at a lefty.
A little of this.
One of these. Over the top.
There it is.
Brought to you by First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com. Thinking of buying land? Your first call should be to First South Farm Credit, firstsouthland.com, firstsouthland.com. We had Ben McDonald on the show a little bit ago. Ben McDonald, former first overall pick of the Major League Baseball draft. When he bought land, his first call was to First South Farm Credit. So if it's 100 acres in St. Francisville, 200 acres in Mississippi, 500 acres in Texas, you want to buy a dude ranch in Montana or whatever, telling you, First South Farm Credit. They can help you buy land anywhere in the lower 48. FirstSouthLand.com, FirstSouthLand.com. Thinking of buying land, your first call should be to First South Farm Credit. FirstSouthLand.com. All right, starting lineup is posted for LSU and UNO tonight. And as expected, there is a change in right field, but let's take it from the top. Stanfield will lead off playing left. Curry will bat second, being center. Aaron Beatty behind the dish. He'll bat third. Milam in the cleanup spot will play short. Cerna will DH and bat fifth. York back in the lineup, playing first, batting sixth. Pearson will play third and bat seventh. It'll be William Patrick making the start in right, batting eighth. And then Jack Ruckert will get the start at second base and bat ninth. So you look up and down this lineup, Cerna, Patrick, Ruckert, got 3 freshmen in the lineup tonight. One of the things Jay talked about on Friday, you want to commit to your young guys. You want to commit to keeping the guys you recruited here. Play them. See how it goes. See you tonight. All right, it's after further review. Final break of the show. Tuesday shows are powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. We'll knock out a quick break. Come back. Jimmy will be here for Otter Locks. We'll find out what we're betting on tonight. It's AFR.
AFR.
Not too late, y'all. Actually, it's right on time. It's called River City's 1 Hour Air. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. Always encourage you to make sure you get that pre-season AC tune-up. I say it this way all the time because I think this analogy is best. You wouldn't get in the car and drive across the country without first making sure that thing is ready. Like you'd have the oil changed, the tires rotated. You make sure your vehicle's in shape, right? Ready to go across the country for that journey. Well, you don't want to go through summer in Louisiana without making sure your AC is ready to roll. Look, that thing doesn't get a break, right? Sits on the side of your house, 100-degree temps, humidity, dust, dander, bugs, thunderstorms, never gets a break. Make sure it is in tip-top shape for the coming warm weather. River City's 1 Hour Air, 752-0001, where they're always on time or you don't pay a dime. We're brought to you by River Parish Contractors, rpcontractors.com, rpcontractors.com. And yeah, At River Parish Contractors, they do turnarounds too. They just finished one over with CF, and amazing work. Not one safety incident throughout the course of the work that they did. And we know it all the time, right? I mean, you don't get hired to do work inside the fence if you don't have an exemplary safety record. Well, that's River Parish Contractors. And of course, if you're going to keep getting rehired, you have to do amazing work, and that's River Parish Contractors. And if you're looking to work, turnaround work, or looking to work in their fab shop there in reserve, or at any of the jobs they have going on from Chalmette to Baton Rouge and anywhere in between, River Parish Contractors. They're going to keep you busy. It's not a deal where you're going to be employed for 2 weeks. They got to lay you off. They're going to keep you working. Overtime available, rpcontractors.com. Check them out, rpcontractors.com.
After further review, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana.
All right, down the stretch we come. Final segment here on a Tuesday edition of AFR, powered by Sunshine, your hometown John Deere dealer in Louisiana. One thing left to do. Find out what we're betting on tonight. Time for Otter Locks.
Otter Locks.
All right, time to win some money.
Presented by Total Maintenance AC Repair. Same-day service means you will never sleep hot. 480-1000. We are Total Maintenance.
I think it's safe to say that I won the bet.
Yo, Otter, what up?
Got a full plate for you and an add-on. So
let's go.
Let's get right to it. Houston, Cleveland, we gave out over 8.5. That's 2-0 early. So not sure what the
still
updated
still at 8.5.
Still at 8.5. I would take it over. Peyton, the hot pitcher for Cleveland, a rookie who's down to like 3 or 4 to 1 to win Rookie of the Year. But Houston's lineup has been outstanding. They've had all their troubles on the mound, but not at the plate, so we'll see. And nobody's hotter than Yordan Alvarez. Tampa Bay is down 2-0. I would still advise, go take a swing. Get a much better number now, so I would still take it at money line. Cincinnati, one of the better records in baseball, but the luck factor has them where they should be. I know it sounds like you out-hit somebody 10-1 and went extra innings or one strike away last night in Kansas City. But I digress. But Tampa Bay against Cincinnati, we just don't think that their luck is sustainable. We're going to take the Rays there. Again, down 2-0. Atlanta's underway already. They are red hot, and they're smoking. They won big last night, the over hit as well. So we're going with Atlanta again on the road in the nation's capital, minus 1.5 runs. And we're going to add a total. We're going to go over at Coors Field, San Diego and Colorado. Not exactly throwing their toughest pitchers tonight, so we know how that park plays. So we're going to take the Rockies hitting the ball pretty good at home. They just split the 4-game set with the Dodgers. We'll take that over 11 in that one. 2 games in the NBA. Keep in mind, speaking of live betting, if you're watching, especially on Peacock, Matt, I was 10 points behind. It's not just me. A lot of people are talking about it. If you are betting, DraftKings app is very good at giving you the exact score. Check it out tonight while you're watching the game. The actual score in the app and what it is. You want to talk about a spoiler. But anyway, if you're live betting, trying to middle things like that, you got to look at the app and not the TV. This is a big one to lay, but we're going to lay it 14 points. I think it's 14.5 right now.
13.5 right now.
13.5 with the Celtics. Love the way Tatum looked. I mean, we know about he was fortunate just to have him back. He pushed, played as many games as he could in the regular season to get ready. He looked great. Of course, without Embiid, Philly's not much to put up a fight. I can't see how this is not going to be a sweep. I know it's a big number. When they get up to about 20, if you get at least a 5-point middle, try and middle a third of your original bet. And in Portland tonight, this is where the San Antonio game 1 on Sunday night more than doubled their playoff experience in games played. That's how green they are. Only 7 games coming into this one by De'Aaron Fox that he's played all time. That is it for San Antonio. I love San Antonio's roster. I think they're great. They're going to be really, really good for years to come with Wembanyama. But this is a classic spot where they may exhale just a little bit in this spot after winning comfortably by 13 Sunday night. We're going to take Portland plus the 11.5.
All right. Celtics on the number and Portland as well with the points plus 11.5. Where are you tomorrow, Otter?
Roca Pizzeria on Government Street.
Roll those R's.
City.
Ruffles and ranches have ridges. That's what they taught us when I did Spanish class in high school. Ruffles and ranches have ridges.
Arroz.
All right, Otter. Enjoy Roca. Let's get some wins tonight. Let's cash some tickets.
Good luck.
Here we go. All right. Just about going to do it for us here. We are brought to you by Evamore, E-V-A-M-O-R. Just took a swig. Oh, my Evamore. Have it here every day. Stay hydrated. Sauna every night at my house. Go into my sauna with a bottle of Evamore. Tell you all the time, man. Better form of hydration. Tastes better. Challenge you. Grab a bottle of whatever bottle of water you usually drink. Grab a bottle of Evamore. Do the side-by-side taste test. You'll never go back. And then you learn it's a Louisiana product. It's natural artesian water. I don't know why you would drink anything else. It's the best. It's Evamore. E-V-A-M-O-R. Find the stores that carry it nearest you. Evamore.com. Hit the menu. There's a store locator tab. Just type in your zip code, and it'll tell you the store nearest you. And then, or you can buy it online. There's a big Buy Now tab at the top right. E-V-A-M-O-R. Evamore.com. Evamore.com. All right, just about going to do it for us here. We're going to get on down the road. Remember, if you missed anything, AFR On Demand is presented by Breck Golf. You can book your tee time at golf.breck.org. Thanks to Shea Dixon, who was with us, Ben McDonald as well. We gave you an LSU football practice report. Lots of NFL draft stuff today. So if you missed anything, you can catch AFR On Demand. All right, we're back in studio tomorrow. Wednesday should be a really good show as we'll be 24 hours out, all the latest on the NFL draft. And then Thursday, of course, we're out at LSU for the Team Kate Swab event and first day of the NFL draft. Friday, we're down in NOLA at Zurich at the Walk-Ons 10 on 17. Busy week. Fired up for it and glad you're hanging out with us here. Muse Pauly, thanks y'all. Have an awesome night. We'll see you tomorrow at 3.
AFR.
As we get on down the road, we remind you about Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. As Terrio would say, Shawbills! Actually, my son Drew yells that all the time now. Shawbills. Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. Name brand tires at wholesale prices. They'll keep you coming back because they treat you like family. The Charlie's dozen, a dozen benefits extended to you and every vehicle in your family when you buy tires at Shawbills. So get them by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service. And also, y'all, they can they can finance any service work that you may need done on your vehicle. Understand, look, sometimes, finances can be tough and you might have to pinch pennies, and they can help over at Shawbills make it happen. I always tell you about the Shawbills credit card as well. You get great benefits extended to you and discounts when you use your Shawbills credit card. So learn more at ShawBillsTire.com or just walk into any of the Shawbills locations nearest you. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, we keep you rolling.